G'day folks, welcome to Give Me the Remote. This is episode 29 on January 15, 2019. I am Sheridan and I'm joined by my co-host John.
Hello Sheridan and hello listeners, how are we today?
They all said good.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're alright? It's very hot here in Canberra, Australia today, but we are making do, and we've even turned the air conditioner off just so you can hear us clearly, so we hope you appreciate that sacrifice.
It's getting a bit steamy in here.
Yeah, it's always a bit steamy around here, isn't it? So what are we talking about first?
Well, let's talk about a show that I think you're going to have a lot of very strong and probably very negative opinions on.
Is this Marie Bloody Kondo?
It is Marie Kondo. Is it called Tidying?
The book-hating bore.
She doesn't hate books.
She does. She says people shouldn't have more than 30 books.
Oh, she doesn't have hard and fast rules, though.
I think that is actually one of them. They shouldn't have more than 30.
So Tidying Up with Mary, it's called Tidying Up with Mary Kondo,
I don't care what it is, it's horrible.
It's a Netflix original, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all we watch. Has really taken the world by storm.
It's certainly got people talking, I will give it that.
Everyone is talking about this show. So Marie Kondo is a Japanese tidying up specialist or organizer who a few years ago wrote a book called The Life-Changing Magic of Cleaning Up or Tidying Up. So apparently she wrote this book because she had so many clients for her organizational services because she provides, so I guess she just goes to people's houses and organizes their stuff.
Those poor people.
In Japan, that she needed a stopgap measure because they were desperate for her. So she wrote this book that became an international #1 bestseller on every list. Heaps of people I know read it. I had never read it. I kind of get the concept of it. Anyway, so now she's got this show where she goes into people's homes and helps them to determine what objects they should keep and throw away.
Homes
and then
of the upper middle class, people who already live in delightful homes and maybe have a messy garage or need to throw out some clothes. It's very dull TV.
It's very middle America.
It's not middle, this is upper middle.
There might be a slight... they can relate to them. People can relate to these people, though. They're a mass audience.
Yes. Anyway, it's terrible TV. I mean, there's all this stuff of, oh my God, there's someone at the door. There's a camera crew in your living room. You know someone's about to knock on your door. You know who it is. Oh my God, it's Marie Kondo. You've never heard of Marie Kondo until you signed up to do this TV show. It is so fake. It is sickening.
But I mean, that's the structure of these kinds of shows.
All these people have cleaned up their houses for Marie Kondo coming to clean up their house.
But they haven't thrown everything out. So she kind of comes across, different families will have different problems. So one couple, one of them had a problem with books and he had too many books and his partner had too many bits of paper.
Too many books, is there?
And then you had another family that, they had 3 kids and they were holding onto all the baby stuff and the husband wanted to throw everything away, but the woman wanted to keep it all because she thought it could be useful.
If she had another baby, she might be right.
Well, perhaps, but anyway, so Marie Kondo doesn't speak very much English in the show.
No, which I think really adds to the enjoyment of it.
Well, I kind of wonder actually if it's a little bit of sort of the Eastern mysticism is coming in to help these Westerners decide, when really it's actually all about just throw the shit out that you don't need or don't like, and put it away in an organised way.
Look, she's got some good folding tips. I mean, that woman knows how to fold stuff. And the little boxes within boxes, that's cute, I guess, if I want my house to look
I can't wait
like
to turn
Japanese.
my T-shirt drawer into a Marie Kondo folding. I probably won't fold them, though, while departing joy through the palms of my hands, as she's instructed me to do. And I don't think when I'm throwing a T-shirt away, I don't think I'm going to thank it.
Good.
But it's caused a lot of problems.
I imagine it's caused some marriage breakups.
Well, it nearly caused us to have it. We've had several fights actually about forcing you to watch this show, and I said that you might get something from it, to get rid of things that
I got many
don't
things
spark
from it.
joy, and you told me that was me.
Yeah, look, I did discover a great deep hatred of Marie Kondo.
But she's so innocent. How
She's
can
not
you
innocent at all. She's exploiting everyone to the hilt.
She's
making tons of money
to be honest,
out of this.
She's extremely savvy.
Yeah. I think she's spreading human misery. I think particularly she's also imposing a Japanese minimalist aesthetic in places where it isn't entirely appropriate. I don't think she improved all of those houses.
She doesn't do that though. She lets you hold on to more than 30 books if they're bringing you joy.
What about a challenging book?
Well, that would bring you joy.
What about Irvin Welsh's Trainspotting?
Well, does it bring you joy?
No one gets joy out of reading Trainspotting. They enjoy the challenge. They enjoy the horrible feelings.
So you enjoy it. You enjoy. You've got joy.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say anything by Irvin Welsh brings joy, but it remains worthwhile literature. Marie Kondo, for example, brings me no joy at all, and here we are talking about her.
You wait until we get into your closet. It's going to be...
There won't be much joy going on there either. Why have you got that t-shirt? Because I want to have it.
You got to look into your heart and feel like... That Marie Kondo.
That's how I feel about my whole clothes pile. Just little songs of joy radiating out from it.
I don't think you've put on the Marie Kondo approach.
No,
enough.
I don't intend to. I don't like her.
Well, so I think there's probably a difference between rating the show and rating Marie Kondo.
Or what do they call it? The con something method? KonMari. KonMari method.
So I actually think this show is pretty boring.
Yeah.
I mean...
If these are the best people, they could get her to help. I mean...
But also she does this thing where she tells you at the beginning and middle of the show how to, like, there's 4 areas of your life that need organising and the order that you should go through them. And so she tells you those 4 things and I think, well, okay, cool, you told me. Then she tells you to look at all the items and see whether they spark joy. Okay, well, I've got that step. And then she shows you how to fold some stuff. So I don't really think you need to see any more episodes to implement the technique.
Yeah, and also there is also the fact that she's always got wiggle room. She says there's 4 categories of things. Oh, that's very profound. There's 4 categories of things. One of those 4 is miscellaneous.
Kimono.
Yeah. So there's actually, 60 or 70 odd categories. We've just sort of lumped most of them into one category.
But I think what she's done is identify the areas where people have the most problem letting go. So clothes, paper, and sentimental items, they're the other 3 categories. They're that's when people have the most problem letting go of stuff. And so then you've kind of got this other category which, well, it is miscellaneous, but people probably don't really have a lot of problem with that.
I think these are grown people who seem to be capable of holding down good jobs, and if they want to have a filing cabinet full of bits of paper that don't actually mean that much, then why not? What's the harm in that?
But I think the people that are on the show, though, they feel as though they're being, drowning under the weight of their stuff.
I think most of them just wanted to be on television.
There is we're going back to the show now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem. There are definitely people on this TV show that just want to be on TV, and I don't think that makes for very good television.
Mm.
So I think as her concept is really interesting, but as a show, it's pretty dull.
Yeah, particularly listening to the wisdom of Marie Kondo translated by her translator, who's almost as boring as she is.
I feel though like this would be a good show to watch while you're organising your clothes. So it's like a show.
Going back to work would seem preferable than sitting down and watching the show.
Like it's a show.
That's brilliant.
It's a show that you would put on while you're cooking dinner. It's not a show you kind of sit there and engross yourself in. It's like a show you kind of have on.
I just don't think it's a very good show.
Yeah, I don't think it's very good either. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, but you're in favour of parts of them. I mean, like I said, the woman knows how to fold things. There are 2 or 3 useful life hacks to be had out of watching this, although you could literally just hit up a life hack website and find 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it seems to have resonated with people, though, because I think people are feeling... I think there's probably a general feeling that people are consuming too much, and this show is actually speaking to that feeling that's existing in the community, or that we're just buying too much crap.
But I think most people who try and follow this are going to throw out a bunch of stuff and then end up buying that same stuff back.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm not sure, that's necessarily fixing any of those problems. Not that, we don't struggle getting rid of all the cardboard boxes from all the Amazon packages that keep turning up. And I'm as guilty as you of ordering those Amazon packages. So,
I think you're more guilty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many packages have you had this week?
Yeah, but I've had useful things. All right, so what are you going to give it? Pray tell.
1 star. I thought about 0 stars, and I thought, that's not fair. The woman knows how to fold. 1 star for that.
I'm really torn here. I think I'm going to have to give it 2 stars.
2 stars.
But I feel like, I feel like one episode is like 3 or 4 stars. So just watch one episode.
Oh, I agree.
And probably not the first one, because that first couple is really boring. Just pick one in the middle.
Yeah. One episode you might learn some things, although you're probably a grown-up and you're probably capable of, if you choose to, just looking at your life and making some decisions. And if you're happy as things are going, keep on being happy.
I don't know how you can possibly say that, given you had the carton of books that a possum had eaten in the shed.
I was very happy, though.
Was it bringing you joy?
Yeah, it was. That possum was cute.
But then you left the eaten carton in there for years.
Yeah, well, it was memories of finding a possum in my books. All right, then. So what's next?
That show that I didn't really watch but came in at the end, The Orville.
The Orville. This is a weird show in that it is simultaneously one of the worst-rated TV shows in existence by critics, and it is also one of the highest-rating shows on the Fox network in the US.
Yeah, well, I actually get that, to be honest, because I watched a couple of episodes and was like, I am done with this. This is rubbish.
I will say the first episode is particularly not good. And I was lucky in that a friend whose judgment I trust was raving to me how great the show was last year. We're reviewing season 1, by the way. Season 2 has just got started. And I was very surprised because I'd heard so many terrible things about the Orville. And he was like, no, get past that first episode and it gets really good. And you know what? In a certain Seth MacFarlane-y sort of way, and interest of disclosure, we live in a house with a cat named after a Seth MacFarlane character.
That is true.
So we are somewhat in the Seth MacFarlane fandom camp.
Well, actually, to be honest, so the cat's name is Roger after Roger the Alien from American Dad. I just really like Roger the Alien.
Yeah. That's still a Seth MacFarlane character.
I know, but I'm not. I don't know if I would describe myself as being like a Seth MacFarlane fangirl.
No, but his work.
I like him.
His works have influenced you to the point you have a cat.
I really like American Dad.
Okay.
But so what's the synopsis? How would you describe it?
Let me just go back a bit. I mean, so for those who know the shows but don't know Seth MacFarlane, so he's responsible for Family Guy, American Dad, and what's the spin-off from Family Guy? What about the African family?
What's his name? Clarence Curtis?
Anyway.
It's going to get there.
Anyway, the point is, Seth MacFarlane is a guy who can do no wrong on the Fox network. They just keep shoveling money up to him saying, churn out another show, Seth. Keeps churning out another show. He's very funny. He can be quite outrageous. The Orville as a live action, also starring Seth MacFarlane's acting talents, which I don't think even he would claim acting was his greatest talent.
No, he's a rubbish actor.
He's a comedian and a writer, and but it's basically a Star Trek reworking.
So I feel like it's a bit of an ego project for him.
Oh, he just wants to be Captain Kirk, absolutely.
And I mean, I think to me, I kind of went out of the Seth MacFarlane fangirl phase a few years ago when he hosted the Oscars, and I was just like, you know what,
the song about show us your boobs.
He's just not funny in real life. Like, he lacks comedic timing. He's sort of cringeworthy in his delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And his face is too smooth.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Botox.
It's just like, I don't find him charismatic in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And to be such an amazing writer and come up with such crazy characters and have, like, quite nuanced comic writing for cartoon characters, but then to be so rubbish in your delivery of your own written product... It's an achievement, really.
Wow. So the Orville, in the real spirit of original Star Trek, is each episode, there's a new adventure for the crew of a starship, traveling sometimes through uncharted territory. Surprisingly often just going and visiting the homeworlds of various crew members because, they want to see their mums.
So I didn't really watch Star Trek, but that's what happens in Star Trek, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's meant to be this journey of exploration, but
sometimes we're just like, whatever, let's just go and have dinner on a planet.
Yeah. But it's bringing in very much ideas of the now, be it transgender rights, and doing them in quite touching ways. I would say one thing, that where Seth MacFarlane in his other projects can get away with, I don't know, for example, in the Orville, there's a scene where a man with a gun forces another man to torture himself. Now, you can do that in American Dad or Family Guy, and it's just funny.
Yeah.
You have an actual, what looks like a person doing that, and it's
disturbing.
It's very disturbing. But the stories are good, and there's a real sense of jeopardy to it, which is surprising for a comedic space romp. The stakes for the characters are actually quite high. The characters, aside from Seth MacFarlane, are generally pretty likeable. And there's a tremendous amount of outrageous acting talent. I mean, Jeffrey Tambell's romping around in the background. Rob Lowe under an enormous amount of blue makeup.
Yeah, I think everyone else in the show is good except him. I think there's no charisma between him and the other main character, which is his first mate. Is that what they call it?
Executive officer and ex-wife, yes.
Ex-wife, not in real life.
No, ex-wife in the show.
Yeah, in the show. I don't think there's sexual chemistry between them.
There's meant to be, but I mean, yeah.
But those actors don't have it, and that's because Seth MacFarlane is not a good actor.
I also think, though, there is something to when you cast yourself to be the captain of the Enterprise or the Orville. It's pretty much the same thing. To that slightly leaden everyman delivery, because that if you put me in there, I'd be just as leaden and awful. So I think it appeals to the everyman who knows they actually wouldn't be that good in that position. So it's relatable.
Yeah, okay.
It's relatable in its crapness. But I found myself surprisingly enjoying this, coming back to it. It was one of those things I kept putting on when you'd gone to sleep or were napping. And and in that way, with low expectations, after particularly the poorness of the first episode, and the second one wasn't great either, I really got quite into it, and I'm in fact looking forward to the next season.
Yeah, well, I came back into it.
Yeah, suddenly Sheridan was awake and looking over my shoulder and asking questions about why characters were doing things, and I was like, you don't like this show, why are you even watching it?
So I came around on it. So I'm going to give it 3 stars.
3 stars. Okay, I'm going to give it 3.5. I think having worked some bugs out in season 1, I think season 2 could be real cool.
I agree, because I feel like season 1 ended quite strong.
Cool.
What's next?
Doctor Who season 1. Now, we apologise for those following this podcast closely, in that I reviewed Doctor Who season 11. And then Sheridan decided she'd try Doctor Who.
Because I'd never watched it ever before.
And we tried doing a couple of episode-by-episode reviews. Then we thought that was getting a little Who-heavy. So what we've now done is we're only going to do reviews when and if seasons are completed, which might not ever be again. Although I think David Tennant showed you a little bit of promise at the end there. But
he's a bit more charismatic as Doctor Who than the other one. Okay,
so we're going to go over to Sheridan now and talk us through how you felt about season 1 of Doctor Who, which is the mid-90s reboot of, not quite reboot, restart of Doctor Who, the modern era.
So look, I started off pretty strong on this. I was like, oh, this is a lot more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. Then, I mean, I was being force-fed Doctor Who by John. And he's like, you've got to get through it so we can review it. And I felt as though it was like being force-fed like a taco. Actually, no, a taco's really tasty.
If only it'd been more like a taco.
If it had been more like a taco, I would have eaten them all. So I felt a little like, oh, I don't really want to watch this anymore. So I think Doctor Who, I mean, the character itself, I guess, is a bit odd. I found, what's his name? Eccleston. He's a bit goofy.
Yeah.
And he's got a very active forehead.
Yeah, he's got very active. The forehead did more acting than the rest of him.
He just pulls a lot of weird, goofy faces, but then is meant to be sort of this a little bit scary and all-knowing. So sort of, threatening and larger than, he's bigger than a human, like mentally and.
Mm-hmm. That juxtaposition is a very deliberate part of the writing.
Bigger than a human, by the way, was the worst explanation ever.
It would be very dull if he was just omnipotent all the time, and it wouldn't make.
Yeah, but he's never omnipotent because you can't ever take him seriously because his forehead just goes off, and you're like, I'm not scared of you.
Well, there's a reason he only lasted a season,
Yeah, right.
Some Doctor Who's can run for year after year.
Yeah, okay. I guess, when was this show made?
Mid-90s.
Okay. Because the age difference is a little skeezy, but we'll get over it.
Well, it's a platonic relationship.
It's not, though. They end up having a kiss.
Just a kiss?
Yeah, but that's not platonic.
Well, then it's not sexual.
Yes, it was a kiss on the lips.
Yeah, but they didn't have sex.
It's... Kissing is sexual. When it's on the lips... There was a pash. They pashed.
They were both dying.
Yeah, but that's what... Yeah, so in their dying moments, they elected to not, give each other a hug. They pashed.
Right.
It was sexual tension.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, so there was sexual tension in the show.
But they did... The introduction of Captain Jack mid-season did at least split that up, so it wasn't just the two sparking off each other.
Well, then it just became... So let's talk about Captain Jack.
Sure, talk about Captain Jack.
I get that this character was probably quite revolutionary in the beginning because he's pansexual.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just going after everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's a two-face.
Right.
So he's sometimes hot and then sometimes not, which is very distracting.
Mm.
And also, it just did become a bit of a... The Doctor sort of became a little bit, needs to, pull his dick out to...
There was a lot of willy waving, but I thought the willy waving was fun.
Well, Captain Jack didn't really do a lot of willy waving. He's just like, man, whatever, I'm just good enough that I'll get whoever I want. He just was sort of oblivious to it all a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that's how it was going.
Right. So I thought the Doctor was insecure in the face of Captain Jack's magnetism.
This all-powerful, 900-year-old alien.
Time Lord, yep.
Was worried about this. I don't know, what's Captain Jack?
He's a human from the 25th century.
Okay, so he's just a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And... Billie Piper, she was okay. I'm not the biggest Billie Piper fan. Just that chav kind of look going that she had too was...
I think that was in character. I don't know if Billie Piper is necessarily quite as chavvy as the character of Rose Tyler.
You see you're in a lot of chav roles.
Yeah, okay, let's keep going.
Well, she was in that one where she was a prostitute.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't think of what else she's been in, but anyway.
Mm. It was Diary of a Call Girl, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And Mickey, the long-suffering boyfriend,
mm-hmm.
who, he's just a moron, isn't he? He's a nice moron, but
he's not that dumb. He went and found himself another girlfriend.
Well, she's horrible to him though. She keeps stringing him along.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, stop it! I'm just going to go off in the time machine."
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess you can understand it when she lives in a council flat.
Yeah.
But there's also I found it very distracting how sometimes there's a continuation of narrative.
Yeah.
And then other times there's not.
It's something that people who review Doctor Who a lot will constantly be playing guessing games. Is this going to be a recurring character or is this just a one-off? You never quite know. It's kind of part of the fun once you get into watching the show.
Yeah, right. But then I felt like I'm just watching a Monster of the Week movie.
Yeah.
Or episodes, like a Twilight Zone.
I'm
not investing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if any of this story is going to go on or any of these characters are going to go on.
Yeah, in general with Doctor Who, there will be a story of the week, sometimes the two-parters, and then there'll be elements of overarching narrative that they squeeze in between. Which it's a bit like soap opera, I guess.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Daleks.
Yeah.
The Daleks are the least scary villain in any shows that I can recall ever seeing.
My God. The Daleks are the scariest things known to man. Millions of children have grown up hiding behind the couches because they are so terrified.
Well, you know what?
All
you need to do is, actually just hide on top of something.
So they can fly now.
Yeah, well, that was dumb. They're the most they're not at all ergonomic. Just go through a narrow passageway and you win.
Yeah, they'll blast their way through. They'll be waiting for you at the other end. They're inexorable.
And they seem that when they say exterminate, it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. We get the intention. It's like the only word
you
they know.
You don't get the intention. Halfway through, you were like, oh, these Daleks are hard done by. Why is the Doctor so mean to them? He's always trying to wipe them out.
No, but I just mean when they say exterminate, 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 over and over. It's
they
like, yeah, I get
things.
it. I get it.
Daleks like killing things.
It's like...
But so does the Doctor. The Doctor kills a lot of things.
There's something very scary. They have a very limited vocabulary.
Yeah, well, mostly they just like killing things.
Anyway, I did feel a bit sorry for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you told me that they only exist because of the Doctor or something, or...
No, well, he tried to exterminate them at the very creation of their species, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, he seems like he's the one that's a bit of a douchebag.
Well, the Time Lords definitely do a lot of exterminating, yeah.
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 They're not really very nice.
Well, they're called lords, so when have you ever known a nice lord?
And they just rope in council girls into their servitude and then...
Pretty much.
Bugger them off.
Yep.
It's not...
Yep, that's the aristocracy for you.
A bit slave-like.
Right. Is there any other observations about Doctor Who you'd like to make?
Well, I mean, the set design was very BBC, naffy sort of BBC.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was the BBC really upping the budget. The stuff that your cousin was telling us was the best ever with Sylvester McCoy. That was like a tenth of the production values of what you were getting with this one.
And I suffered a bit because the computer animation is pretty bad. Yeah. There's a bit where she's running and there's some, I don't know, laser shooting her from above on a bridge, and it's just like a like it's a real. I'm doing a signal that goes meh, which makes no sense to me.
Sheridan's hand signals make no sense to me either, so you're not missing anything, dear listener.
But it was obviously really fake.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's okay. And how are you going to rate a full season?
I don't even know how to rate this.
Right.
I liked it, and then I didn't like it, and then I really didn't like it, and then I felt bad for not liking it, but I couldn't like it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go 3 stars.
3 stars? That's much higher than I thought it was going to get. I probably couldn't go more than 3.5 stars for this, honestly. Christopher Eccleston is not anyone's favourite Doctor Who.
Maybe I was just not wanting to get hate mail.
This was pretty much a restart for the series, and they're still figuring out who their best writers are. And I think we'll see if you have any time for season 2, what you think of that, with the Doctor having regenerated at the end of season 1, and the much more charismatic David Tennant taking the reins.
I have to say, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, it did make me think I would want to watch the next one, because I'm like, he is such a better actor.
Yeah, right.
Already.
He literally had 10 seconds of screen time.
I was like, you are just better. Like, I want to look at you more than this other dude.
Yeah, right.
But I started off positive on
Eccleston. Okay, well, that's an adventure for listeners in the future. Okay, so we're at the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening all this way, those of you who are still with us. If you've got a show you'd like us to review, please drop us a line at gmtrpodcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment on any of the plethora of social media on which we are spread across.
Okay, thanks.
Good night.